The real monsters wore expensive suits, smelled of good cologne, and flashed welcoming smiles. Today, we're walking down the steps of legalized insanity to give you a clear-cut answer. Where is the absolute limit of human cruelty when a state issues an official license for sadism? Watch until the very end. The finale will permanently strip you of any illusions you have about humanity. Time to take off the rose-colored glasses. Let's go. Picture this. You pop into a pharmacy for a headache pill, and the pharmacist flashes a sweet smile while writing you a referral to a gas chamber so you can be turned into fertilizer. Poland, 1941. Auschwitz concentration camp. How did the maker of your favorite hangover aspirin become the main sponsor of an industrial death conveyor? These camps weren't built by crazy fanatics in uniform. Auschwitz III was erected by the respectable chemical conglomerate IG Farben, which included giants like Babi Yar. They needed cheap rubber. You arrive in a cattle car. You're bought from the SS for a couple of marks a day. You haul cement in the freezing cold. There is no food. Why fix a broken tool when you can just grab a new one? Your average lifespan at this plant is 3 months. Drop from exhaustion? Welcome to neighboring Birkenau. The resolution here is staggeringly cynical. These exact same corporations developed and sold Zyklon B gas to the SS out of their sterile labs. The answer is brutally simple. To big business, a human being is just raw material. First, you work off your cost, and then you literally vanish into thin air just to boost the shareholders' quarterly profits. Money doesn't stink, but while businessmen turned a blind eye from their corner offices, men in white coats were looking death right in the face. The logic went something like this. To quickly cure a cold, you need to dive into an ice hole with weights on your feet. Wait until the ice covers the top of your head, and then they'll just thaw you out with a blowtorch. Germany, 1942. Dachau concentration camp. Why did certified doctors deliberately turn healthy men into ice statues, meticulously recording their death rattles? Dr. Sigmund Rascher gets a commission from the Luftwaffe. Pilots are crashing into the freezing sea. How do we save them? Rascher takes POWs, strips them butt naked, and tosses them into a tank of freezing water for hours. You're thrashing around. Your muscles cramp, your blood thickens, your heart skips beats. A guy with a notepad stands next to you, checking your temperature with a rectal thermometer. You beg for help. He just adjusts his glasses. Rascher figured out that if you drop a freezing man into boiling water, his heart just pops. So they decided to use animal heat, forcing naked female inmates to spend hours warming up half-dead blocks of ice. It was an experiment for the sake of an experiment. Your agony is just a statistic for a medical dissertation. Doctors betrayed the Hippocratic Oath for the sake of their soldiers. But what to do with those who were simply inconvenient? Everyone has that one relative who drives you crazy at family dinners. Imagine the government solves this problem by gifting them a trip to a sanatorium where they pump carbon monoxide through the pipes. Germany, 1939. Hadamar Clinic, the kickoff of the T4 program. Why were the first mass victims of the Third Reich not captured soldiers, but their own German kids? You're the parents of a child with epilepsy. Polite doctors show up at your door. Your little one needs treatment in a cutting-edge clinic. You pack their bags yourself. The kid is put into a gray bus with painted-over windows. They arrive at the clinic, get photographed for the archives, and are led into a tiled shower room. But it's not water pouring from the shower heads, it's death. A week later, you get a letter. Your son died of sudden pneumonia. The body was cremated to prevent an epidemic. The answer is cold-blooded accounting, economics, and gene pool purity. They mathematically calculated exactly how many sausages and marks the budget would save if they wiped out 70,000 useless mouths. Killing your own people in sterile wards is cold calculation. But once they stepped outside of Germany, the atrocities reached a whole new level. If you rounded up all the maniacs, pedophiles, and serial killers from maximum security prisons, handed them assault rifles, and shipped them off to a neighboring country, you'd have the perfect script for a gritty new Hollywood comic book movie. Belarus, spring 1943. What happens when you give absolute, unchecked power to the exact people society deemed psychopaths? Meet Oscar Dirlewanger's Sonderkommando. They were terrified of direct combat with a real army, so they sicked them on partisans. You're a local in a regular village. Suddenly, trucks roll in. The guys in uniform don't ask for ID. They herd the women, kids, and elderly into a massive wooden barn, lock the doors, pack it with straw, and set it on fire. You're slamming against the burning planks. Kids are choking on the smoke. While outside, Someone's playing a harmonica and drunkenly shouting. Anyone who manages to bust through the wood gets mowed down by machine gun. The answer is paralyzing. This wasn't a military unit. It was a mobile slaughterhouse. A sadistic cartel wiping out human beings for twisted pleasure, hiding their bloodlust behind official orders. Listen up. From here on out, the hardcore scale spikes so high that YouTube would nuke my channel without the right to appeal in a heartbeat. I have a secret seventh story about a clandestine brothel in the Ravensbrück concentration camp, where they broke people's minds so sadistically that the inmates actually begged the guards for death. I dropped that video with all the gory, uncensored details over on my private Telegram channel. Link in the description. Imagine the city council invites you to a massive public picnic in a beautiful ravine outside of town. But for entertainment, they offer a game of Russian roulette. Except instead of a revolver, it's an MG42 machine gun, and the drum is always full. Ukraine, September 29th, 1941. Kiev, Babi Yar. How do you wipe the population of an entire European city off the face of the earth in 2 days without building a single gas chamber? Orders are plastered all over town. Gather up. Bring your valuables and warm clothes. You think you're being relocated to a ghetto. You march in a massive crowd into the woods. Suddenly, the road narrows. Barking German shepherds. They rip your suitcases out of your hands. They force you to strip naked right on the freezing dirt. Then they march you to the edge of a giant ravine. You look down, and there are bodies stacked in layers like firewood. Thousands of bodies. They force you to lie down right on top of your dead neighbors. You squeeze your eyes shut and hear the click of a bolt right at the back of your head. The answer is the terrifying bureaucratic efficiency of the Einsatzgruppen. The sardine packing method. They managed to butcher 33,000 people in 48 hours through a strict division of labor. Some sort the clothes, others march you to the edge, and a third crew pulls the trigger in shifts. Factory efficiency in a bloody ravine. Executing people in a forest is monstrous, but a bullet at least gives you a quick death. This final story proves that man can turn architecture itself into an instrument of twisted torture. You know that feeling when you're packed so tightly in a rush hour subway that you can't breathe, and someone is breathing garlic right into the back of your neck? Poland, fall 1941. Auschwitz, Block 11, known as the Death Block. What is it like to be buried alive in a concrete closet with 3 strangers, knowing the only way out is through the crematorium chimney? You just worked a 12-hour shift in the freezing cold. You made a slip-up, picked a rotten rutabaga up off the dirt. They drag you to the basement. A guard opens a tiny door near the floor. You and 3 other starving, full-grown men are kicked into a standing cell, a 90 by 90 centimeter concrete box. The door slams shut. Pitch black. You're standing chest to chest. The air runs out in 10 minutes. You're breathing in the fear and feces of yourself. You can't sit down. If your legs give out, you'll hang on the other bodies and choke them. You stand like that all night. In the morning, they drag you out and send you right back to the quarry. By evening, the cycle repeats. And here is the resolution. Where is the absolute limit of human cruelty? It's right here. The worst horror isn't a bullet or gas. The most terrifying truth is this. The war machine perfected the art of making a human being beg for their own death, depriving you of sleep, space, and oxygen until your heart explodes in a concrete box, stripping you of even the right to fall down. That exclusive 7th story is on Telegram. Subscribe, smash the like button, and go check out these other videos. The stories there are even more terrifying. See ya!